is Eddie. He's come to me today to learn a tennis forehand, and he is a cognitive learner. His main goal is to understand the skill. Alright Eddie, we're doing a gross motor skill. It involves whole body, major muscle movements. Alright, we've got an open skill environment. That means that the environment is not stable. So it's a discrete skill, Eddie. So there's a discrete beginning and end. So essentially we've classified it as 4D, Eddie. So it's regulatory and it's stable. Alrighty mate, we're going to hand you over to the head coach. We're going to show you the essential components of this skill.
Hi, I'm Scott Draper and I'm here to show you how to hit a basic forehand. We want a semi-western grip. I think that's ideal. I have my feet shoulder width apart. It gives me a really good foundation. I'm nice and balanced and ready to move. So I turn. In terms of my hand position, I want that slightly higher than where my navel is. From there, don't force anything. Just let it swing. I swing through to my contact point. Okay, my contact point should be off my front hip. And from there, I'm just going to follow through to my target.
Alrighty, we've learnt the essential components. Now we're going to test how actually skillful Eddie is.
To assess learning, we have designed a retention test. The retention test is aimed to assess Eddie's development, and it will be done at the end of every week. The test involves both qualitative and quantitative data collection. Eddie will have to hit 30 balls thrown underarm to him by his coach. There will be a target set up between the service line and baseline on the other side of the net, and for every ball Eddie hits into the target, he will receive 1 point. The coach records the amount of balls that land in the target zone. In order to gather qualitative data, Eddie will inform his coach about how good the swing and contact with the ball felt after each hit. This will be indicated on a scale from 1 to 5, 1 to 2 being poor, 2 to 3 being moderate, 3 to 4 classified as good, and 4 to 5 being excellent. At the end of the 30 trials, these results will be added and averaged. Eddie will become aware of his results and hopefully progress each week.
According to Fitz and Posner's stages of learning model, Eddie is at the cognitive stage. Being at this stage, he is still getting an idea of the basic movement requirements. At this stage, Eddie will reformulate past experiences in an effort to solve, and he will use the trial and error approach. His errors will be numerous and large. Before training, Eddie will exhibit poor coordination. He will be hesitant and inconsistent. Each week, we will hopefully see progress in Eddie's development of the skill. We predict that we will see quicker reaction times, an increase in coordination, and a better overall technique. We have 4 drills planned for Eddie to practice. Each drill varies in difficulty, accounting for Eddie's progressions or regressions each week. We will remain flexible with drills and equipment to ensure that Eddie is participating in the most beneficial drill at any one time. We will only move from one drill to the next when Eddie has demonstrated that he is confident and skillful enough to progress. Transfer of learning is defined as the influence of past experience on performing a new task in a new context or the learning of a new skill. The past experience of an individual can influence their ability to perform a new skill in a positive, negative, or neutral way. In order to maximize positive transfer of learning, we have gotten to know Eddie and his current skill level. We have found out that Eddie is also a cricket batsman. From knowing this, we are able to apply the identical element theory. We are able to point out specific similarities between cricket batting and the tennis forehand. The 3 distinct phases in a cricket swing are almost identical to a tennis forehand. These are the backswing, the contact with the ball, and the follow-through. These phases are looked at in the first drill. To ensure that Eddie does not get too overwhelmed when learning the new skill, we will remain positive and focus on only certain elements of his swing at any one time. We will implement attentional cueing throughout the drills also. Janelle, Champenoy, Coombs and Mosau conducted a study on soccer players and concluded that players who were given verbal cues displayed less errors and more appropriate form. We will use cues such as bounce, swing, and swing, follow through, as Eddie will be aware of what these mean from similar cricket swings. We will also use short, sharp cues such as grip, so that Eddie can focus on one component of the movement at a time.
Prior to the first training session, we met with Eddie to discuss both his short and long-term goals. According to Shahin and Marbod 2007, goal setting is one of the first steps a coach should complete. Eddie has come up with goals of his own, and we have made sure that they are all SMART goals. SMART goals are specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely. Eddie was instructed to place his goals somewhere where he will see them every day.
To ensure that Eddie remains motivated, we have specifically structured the training sessions in a certain way. As Eddie is a very competitive person, we have included drills which involve point systems as well as rewards for Eddie. Weekly sessions will contain at least 2 drills per session so that the program isn't repetitive. Each training session will begin with a high-intensity footwork warm-up and end with a cool-down as well as mental practice and imagery. Both imagery and mental practice were part of Singer's successful 5-step learning strategy. Different size and weighted balls will be used from drill to drill, depending on Eddie's progress. He will start with modified tennis balls and move on to regulation tennis balls. Starting on larger balls makes it easier for Eddie to concentrate on his swing rather than the outcome of his forehand. Using these larger balls is a type of simplification strategy. Simplification strategies are used to reduce the coordination requirements of the skill whilst keeping the same action and end goal. According to Wolf, Shih, and Whitaker, simplification of advanced motor skills is a vital component of learning the skill.
As Eddie is a kinesthetic learner, demonstrations are imperative to his learning. The coach will demonstrate before Eddie tries out the movement. Eddie will be able to observe and take in exactly what he is seeing. In the second week, an autonomous tennis player will attend one of Eddie's training sessions to demonstrate the movement. Whilst Eddie watches this player, his coach will point out certain aspects of the movement that require attention.
The role of task instructions is related to the 2 goals of the learner from Gentile's 2 stages of learning. The coach will use precise language such as eye on the ball. He will also use metaphors. According to Lau and Masters, analogies are successful as they integrate the complex rule structure in a simple metaphor that can be reproduced by the learner. The coach will use analogies such as pretend you are hugging yourself when you follow through.
Augmented feedback refers to sensory information provided by an external source. The feedback given by the coach is very meaningful at this stage of Eddie's learning. The coach will use prescriptive auditory augmented feedback. This type of feedback identifies an error as well as provides improvement for that error. Videos of Eddie's performance will be taped and Eddie will get a chance to watch over these each week. Videos help Eddie to determine what he is successful at and what needs more work. Both qualitative and quantitative feedback were used throughout Eddie's training.
As the tennis forehand is both high in complexity and organisation, we have decided to implement both part and whole practice. According to Buchanan and Namick, part practice is more suited for cognitive learners and whole practice is more suitable for learners already at an advanced stage. Therefore, we have decided to begin with part practice and then gradually build into whole practice. Progressive part practice was used in the first drill. This involves practicing a few phases of the skill individually and then progressively adding them all together. For the whole practice, more complex drills will be introduced so that Eddie can practice the entirety of the swing. These drills are important so that Eddie can put all the 3 phases together smoothly and begin to process information during all of them.
Eddie will firstly be participating in constant practice. We will keep the environment and conditions constant. After Eddie has picked up the skill, we will use the variable practice technique. During the drills, the pace of the ball, the targets, and the placement of the ball will be altered. Many studies have shown that constant practice has a greater influence upon temporary performance, but variable practice has a greater influence on learning.
The contextual interference effect is a learning phenomenon in which interference during practice is beneficial to skill learning. Higher levels of contextual interference lead to poorer practice performance, whilst yielding superior retention and transfer performance. A serial practice schedule will be implemented. This is of moderate contextual interference. There will be 3 types of balls he will be required to hit. These include a fast-paced ball, slower-paced ball, and one that will land a few metres from him. The balls will come in the same order to reflect serial practice variability.
Distributed practice will be used in Eddie's training program. Eddie will get a longer or equal rest-work ratio. The advantages of this are reduced fatigue, enhanced cognitive effort, and better memory consolidation.